this is Tanya from Flying Dog Studio. Thank you so much for joining me as I do a little Beatrix Potter inspired piece. Now for this video, we are only going to be inking, and let's take a look at our supplies. Now I've pre-drawn everything out with this Lamy Safari All-Star pen, and then I have the Tombow Mono eraser. This is a new one for me. I've had one before, but this one has a metal barrel on it where the eraser comes out, and it's a round eraser and not the flat one, but we'll see how it works. I also have my very favorite pen, and we're going to be talking a lot about this in the video. This is the Falcon Pilot, and it has a special nib on it, and that's what makes all of this inking possible. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me. And if you show up often, thank you so much for being here. I'm always happy to have you guys pop on and see what I'm up to. And if you are new, I hope you'll subscribe. And I hope you'll take a look at the other things that we do on the channel. I do a little bit of everything on here. So let's talk a little bit about my setup. Now this is going to be a watercolor piece. As I said, it is Beatrix Potter inspired. I'm inspired by her watercolor pieces on this one and the fact that she would ink her pieces. And let's talk about the inking, and then we'll talk about that paper and that very bright tape going all the way around it. But first, let's talk about the pen. This pen, as I mentioned earlier, is the Pilot Falcon, and it is my very favorite pen because of the nib. The nib is a flexible nib, and I've zoomed in, so hopefully you'll be able to see this, but if I put a slight bit of pressure on it, the nib will flex open and allow more ink to come out. And the reason that is important, if you haven't seen my other Beatrix Potter pieces, and I'll link that down below. I have like a whole playlist of my Beatrix Potter. When she inked, she used weighted lines, meaning the lines would be thick, the lines would be thin. Sometimes they will go from thick to thin, sometimes thin to thick, sometimes they're just thin, sometimes they're just thick. But the point is, I need varied lines. I can get those varied lines just by holding the pen as I'm holding it right now. I can get thick and thin lines, but I can also turn the pen slightly on its side, and you'll see me do that. I'll roll it slightly and draw with it on the side, and sometimes I will roll it completely upside down and draw with it upside down. And yes, these pens, if you've never used a fountain pen, they will write with the nib upside down. Now the pen's not upside down, and neither am I. I don't think I would try that at my age, but that pen nib, if I turn it completely upside down, it will make a super thin line. And that's what I needed in some of these areas. This is a hollyhock. And if you would like the reference photo of this, this came from our garden last year. I can put that up on my blog for you and leave the link. You just have to let me know if you want it. I'll also post my drawing of the piece, so if you want to follow along, you can do that. You can download it, you can print it out, you can trace it, whatever you want to do. You just have to let me know if you would like to have my drawing. So now let's talk a little bit about my paper setup. And again, all of the supplies will be listed below, but this is my favorite paper to use for watercolor. Linking it down below. It is cold pressed, so we have the texture on there. I do love a textured paper with watercolor. It's just kind of my preference. Now if I'm working with something that needs to be a little more detailed and I'm going to be using some pencil on it, then I would probably want some hot press paper so the surface would be smooth. It's just kind of a preference thing as far as this type of art goes. But I do like this pen on this paper because this pen does not have any drag with it. If you've ever tried to ink on watercolor paper, and sometimes just thicker papers, these fountain pens will have a drag and you can feel it and it will be scratchy. So this paper, I'm really particular about paper, and this paper does not do that. But since we're going to be watercoloring it, I'm going to have to prepare the paper. And what I have done is I have put some washi tape. That's just, and it's two like strips of washi tape all the way around the outside because I wanted a nice wide border. I'm not certain what I'm going to do with this, so I decided I wanted the border to be a little wider. It looks like one piece of washi tape, but the lines just kind of lined up when I put it down side by side. I thought that was pretty cool, but that's not super wide washi tape. It's like regular, it's probably 1/2 inch washi tape that I've put down. So I have a good size border all the way around, and just putting the washi tape around there, it's not just creating a border so I don't go outside. I have, an even border all the way around when I'm painting. It's going to keep my paper from warping. I'm not going to stick it down to a board. It's just simply around the edge of the paper, and the paper will dry flatter if you do this. I've tried this over and over again, and it has worked. It works in sketchbooks, so I thought, why not just do it on regular paper? So that's what I'm doing here. And if you're wondering about the ink, since we are going to be watercoloring this is, I'm not going to say waterproof, but it's a special kind of ink. And I leave it in my pen. It has an oil in it that keeps it from clogging up my pen. I use this in all of my pens. It's a brown ink because if you look at a Beatrix Potter piece, her ink has kind of a brown look to it. So I'm assuming it was brown ink. That's what I'm going to use in my stuff. That's what I see most often on her pieces. Mine's a little bit darker than hers. It could be age that has faded it on the pieces I'm seeing online. If you go to the Victoria and Albert website, and if I have that link still, I'll put that down below for you so you can take a look at some of Beatrix Potter's pieces on there. But if you look at her stuff, it's more of like a golden brown. It's not quite this dark, but this ink is, like I said, almost waterproof. When I put water on it, it's not going to bleed out. I'm not going to put water on it immediately. I ink this, and then in a day or two, I came back and I did the watercolor. So you're going to want at least 30 minutes dry time if you're inking the same day. And I'll have that information on the ink down below. The color name is Polar Brown, and I believe I got it at Jet Pens, but I'll have it down below for you wherever I can find you the best deal. That's what I'll have below. I don't normally on inks say I recommend this or that, or I'm in support of this company or that company, because this particular company has some political things about it, and I don't talk political on here, so I don't have any association with the company. You're just going to have to check it out for yourself. I'm not even going to mention the name, but it will be down below in the description. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit, but this is an area I want you to watch, because this is where you're going to see my pen really switch and flip around in different directions, because there were a lot of different kind of little lines in here. So again, I'm going to be quiet and let you watch me work and give you a little more of a musical interlude, and I'll hop back on a little closer to the end and we'll talk about where this piece is going once we get it all completely inked. If you are going to do a Beatrix Potter piece, I do recommend that you take a look at her art and how she uses lines in her pieces. I'm trying to be very sparse with my lines. This was a close-up picture of these flowers, and I could have just absolutely gone crazy with all the little veins and all the little details, but I want to leave some space. You'll notice some areas I don't even connect lines. I want to allow there to be space to kind of move through the piece. They don't have to all connect. It doesn't have to be a solid line, and I don't want a solid line, especially on the ends of the flowers, the outer portion of the petals where I'm inking right now. On Beatrix's pieces, and there was one I did, I believe it was a carnation, she uses very thin open space lines in order to get the detail. Now I'm showing you on this, we're coming to the end, and I am using a kneaded eraser to get all of those pencil lines off. We don't want those on there when we come back in watercolor, and that is what is next. So if you're interested in following along or to see what it looks like watercolored, I will have that video 1 week from the day you are seeing this, if you're watching it as I am getting it posted. But this is what we're going to do for the piece, and you can see it close up. I'm trying to get all of those lines off, and that tape is important. So if you're going to do this, you don't have to put the tape down when you ink it, but make sure you get that tape on there before you do the watercolor. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you'll want this picture down in the comments. And guys, I will see you in the next one.